Picture, my first ever visit to a farm, with the school. The people there said I was a fucking rad kid and wanted me to sleep over for the weekend, but mom said no lol. The first written on paper story I can remember telling anyone was short. I was 6/7 years old. It was at a school assembly, and I was young and very scared. They school held assemblies in 3 places. We could have it on bitumen in the courtyard in the mornings if it was mild weather. When it was hot or too cold, we would have everyone gather under cover in a big room in an unused wing of the school. When it was a short one or smaller group, we held the assembly in the back courtyard of the school. It was a corner with a circle concrete stage that was ground level and had lecture theater type semicircular old white stone seating. The small courtyard had tall gates that shut off some of it. I guess they locked up at night? Not well enough though, smile, but that's a story for another time. It had the impression of being old, and the joints of the gates were rusty at the bottom where the painted white palings stuck into the bottom strip of heavy steel. It was also a kind of moldy place with moss stains because no one ever really used that section. I actually don't know why we had our assembly there that day, unless it was only for the lower grades or something. There were a few parents sitting on the white stone, but most of them were standing because I now know, as an adult, having to get that low to the ground to sit is fucking annoying. I loved writing a lot already. By that stage, I'd started writing poems and putting together lyrics. I was singing with my best friend. We'd record songs when we had sleepovers. Even though I was a shy kid at school, I wanted to pursue these kinds of arts. It fed something I still don't have a name for, but I know it needs to be abated with acting, singing, art, writing, growing food, etc., or else things get a little funky up in my brain. I enjoyed creative writing at school. The hour or so when the teacher gave up on us after lunch and wanted everyone to STFU. Sometimes in the mornings too. The story this post is about was handwritten in pencil. #olden days. I colored the edges of my paper with black crayon, scratchy coloring in around the body of the text to make the focus of the paper a kind of sloppy circle. It had red scribbles too, and I drew a UFO with yellow ovals for windows. I don't remember the specifics of the actual story, except I was abducted by aliens. The teachers liked it enough to feature it in the next school assembly, and for me to read it. It was all very rushed and it felt like maybe the teacher had forgotten they had to get their class to present something, so they threw me under the bus. I actually recall it being so impromptu that I'm pretty sure neither of my parents came. Up until then, I was happy the adults liked my story, I was happy it looked pretty and that I'd got a gold sticker etc. for it. I thought it was a pretty good story too. I remember that it was different from the work of the other kids. Why? Why, dear mother? Why did you give me a bowl-cut fringe? Dun dun, dun. As the school assembly crept closer, I was happy I'd done something well enough to impress people. It wasn't hard. Some kids bordered on being intellectually disabled at this school, I swear, but I didn't want to do it. I never was a popular kid. I worried about how it was going to go and if I'd screw it up or people would laugh at me. Things become surreal when you are going to perform or show your art etc. 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 You no longer think about the piece, or dialogue lines, or what it means to you, because it's about to mean something to others. And that means it has to be delivered to the best of your ability. Spade, even at this age, it seemed like my achievement was snatched away by anxiety before I could enjoy it for me. Lola, the life of an artiste. Insert dramatic sigh and faint here, or maybe it's just me. After my aliens were scooting me around the galaxy, I distinctly remember being bored AF of writing the story, knowing if I added anything else, this thing would go on way too long, so I did the thing. You know, the thing. The thing you do where you're told you can't use more than one page, or when you have a time limit or word count limit that's snuck up on you. Then you quickly scroll. And then I woke up. Even at that age, I knew I couldn't do it. Either we were told not to do that, or I already somehow knew that it was a cliché faux pas. Either way I was foiled. So, I modified it. I wrote a few lines about wanting to end the adventure with my aliens, and then I wrote a line that I thought would work. I can see my handwriting on the paper, in my head, at the bottom of the page among the crayon. The last line of my story ended with "and then I went home to my mommy and my daddy." I remember looking down at the paper, standing in front of the mic with all these people watching, having a split-second decision to make. I wanted to be cooler. I thought about saying my mom and dad instead of what I'd written, but my teacher was behind me, over my shoulder. They did that to help the other kids read. With that pressure, I just said it. I heard a whole lot of gnaw sounds and small chuckles as soon as the words ended. I felt like a freaking idiot, so much that apparently I still think about it decades later. TLDR, wrote a story once. It was about aliens. Embarrassed myself. My mum massacred my head. Not to get all psychoanalytical, but Shivid our paths really are carved out at 6 to 8. Like and sub cause I'm not a jerk. Come to Facebook, Rumble, YouTube and the site for more.
I've just realised that you're an author and can't even say the word duck. What the fucking hell's up with that?